Holy cannoli, as Clay would say. We had 15 games, a lot of them were close, and a lot of them were great. The slate was crazy, and we are back with another boxcar watching day. We have day 20, so that is that. Let's get through these fucking games. First up, the Wizards win against the Hornets. Well, this was an up and down game with the Wizards coming out on top in the fourth quarter where they just took off and they never looked back. I was most impressed with Rui Hachimura once again, who played 26 minutes, 16 points, 6 of 12 from the field. He had 16 and 3. He is lethal from the mid-range. Kyle Kuzma was great, and just a good win for Wizards with, finding also Jordan Goodwin, who had 17, 4 and 5 and 7 of 7 from the field. He has been great since he started playing for them, so that's good. Well, with the Hornets, there is once again not much to say. Dennis Smith Jr. played not well. He had 3 points, 5 rebounds, 10 assists. At least he playmaking pretty solidly. PJ Washington was great. He had 25 points. I mean, on offense. On defense, he was not that well, not that great. So, well, not much to take away from Charlotte. They tried their best against Washington, just didn't have enough. Next up, we had the Rockets and the Magic as the Rockets pick up their second win. In what was probably Jalen Green's best game of the season, he had 34 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He was 12 of 18 from the field. He was sensational. Kevin Porter had 17, 8, and 11. He was really good. Kevin Gordon chimed in with 19, and Kenyon Martin had 21, 4, and 5 off the bench. The only, not so silver lining is Jabari Smith has looked awful these last few games. I'm not sure if it's just injury bothering him or something else, but he has looked not well, not good. And that's, what Houston needs the most. So that's that, I guess. As for the Magic, Paolo still looks absolutely incredible. He had 30.6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. He has to cut down on turnovers, but he's young and he handles the ball a lot. He was 8 of 16. Terence Ross was 8 of 15 off the bench with 21 points. He kept a minute. Franz Wagner chimes in with another good game, 23, 5, and 7. He's been having a good streak these days. Jalen Sachs was also really solid with 11, 5, and 6, but it wasn't enough against Jalen Green's really great game. Next up, we have the Thunder losing to the Pistons, which I was really surprised about. The game was going as I expected, with the Thunder jumping up to a lead, and well, it looked like they were gonna coast to a victory, but then they just blew it. They just didn't play well enough in the second half. Shea was still really good with 33, 7, and 5, but it didn't feel as impactful as it has been. And Josh Giddey was not good. Lou Dort has been, awful shooting the basketball. And, what was good was, I guess, Kenrich Williams off the bench with 11, Mike Muscala with 11, who kept them in it. So, some positives, but it was a rough loss for the OKC Thunder. But on the other side, it was a good win for Detroit. With K 21, 11, and 7, he was pretty good. Jaden Ivey had a sensational third quarter. It felt like 15, 11, and 6 with 2 steals, 3 blocks. Isaiah Stewart had a double 11 and 12. And Sadiq Bey had 25 and 5. He has been really good, even though he didn't shoot the 3 today well. And Jalen Duren was back from an injury, so some positive signs for the Pistons. Next up, we have the frisky Pacers winning against the Pelicans, as they are both 5 and 5 on the season. The major issue with New Orleans has been defense, and well, Zion's defense in particular. But I mean, today's game, CJ wasn't great. Trey Murphy was pretty solid, but Devontae Graham wasn't even, that good. So Jose Alvarado didn't contribute that much. Larry Nance, after a very great game, he had just an okay game. Even though Brandon Ingram had 29 on 24 shots, or 50% shooting, he was pretty solid. It was not enough. And Zion had 26, 7, and 7. He made 2 3-pointers. There were some great stuff from them, but just not enough. But to my frisky Pacers, they were great. Miles Turner, 37 and 12, 11 of 18 shooting, 11 for 11 from the free throw line. He was sensational. Tyrese, 24 and 13. He was great. And Benedict Mathurin, even though he didn't shoot the ball well, he still contributed really solidly with 8, 2, and 5, and he was closing. That is great to see. Good win for the frisky Pacers. Next up, we have the Sixers winning against the Suns, as the Sixers are 5 and 6 now. They were really comfortable in this game. They didn't feel like in doubt over the whole second half. They were in control the whole time. Devin Booker was pretty solid. He had 28.7 rebounds, 5 assists, but Chris Paul left early due to a heel injury. I'm not sure there have been talks, what was, how, how how actually long he will be out for, but he was out, so that didn't help Phoenix. And it was just a rough game for him. On the other hand, I was really impressed with Tobias Harris, who had 21, 8, and 6, even though he didn't shoot like really well. He was, I don't know, it felt like a really good Tobias Harris game to me. Joel Embiid had 33, 10, and 5, even though he was kinda even, he got to the free throw line. That's him. Tyrese Maxey shot 4 of 18. He was not great, but Georgie Snieg had 7 of 10 from the 3-point line, 21 points. Sensational outing from him. And, well, just a good team effort from the Sixers. On defense especially, they were really good today. Next up, the Bucks finally lost their first game against the Hawks, who blew them out at home. This was a really back and forth game with, both Trae Young and Giannis being game time decisions, and it ended up with Giannis just playing, which he might regret now, as he was not, great. 25, 7, and 2, he was just okay for Giannis' standard, and Jrue Holiday was still really good, but it was just not good enough against the Hawks overall. They'll bounce back. They first loss of the season, nothing major about it. Just didn't have enough today. But let's talk about the Hawks, who won without Trae Young against the Bucks. They were sensational at home. AJ Griffin off the bench, 24, 4, and 1 with 3 steals, 10 of 15. The rookie from Duke, if I'm correct, he was sensational, and the bench was just all sensational. Onyeka Okongwu 12, 6 and 2, 6 of 11 shooting. Justin Holiday 14 points, 4 threes. Just great outing for the Hawks, and they got a really solid team. I was high on them early in the season and before the season, so I'm happy to see that they are playing some really good ball with DeJounte and Trae. DeJounte had 25 and 11 with 3 steals. He's been playing sensational. And they, play good basketball. They got some solid people. They, know what they're good at. They don't have that, great of a 3-point shooting overall, but they know where to take them. They know when to make tough ones, and they are fun to watch. Good for the Hawks. Next up, we have the Blazers once again winning at the buzzer, this time against the Heat. As this was a back and forth game, but in the fourth quarter it felt like Miami was gonna get away with it, but they didn't. Dame got the line a bunch. Anthony Simons made some tough shots. Jeremy Grant made clutch threes, and then Josh Hart won it at the buzzer. And a great win for Portland, who keep playing sensational ball. Good, they have a great vibe overall. They seem to be enjoying playing with each other for Chauncey Billups. And Jeremy Grant had 23, 6, and 12. Yusuf Nurkic, 11 rebounds, 4 points. He was not great, but it didn't matter today. 25 points for Simons, 19 points for Dame in his return from the injury. Justice Winslow has been great off the bench with 12, 2, and 2. And there has to be some excitement in Portland. As for Miami, this was a tough loss as they were, up. It felt like they were going to win, but well, they didn't do enough. They kind of resorted to iso ball late in the game when they were up by 10, and it was not a smart idea. It felt like they were shooting flat-footed 3-pointers, or there was Jimmy Butler post-ups, which was not bad. He was pretty okay, 16, 4, and 7, and 6 steals, but he didn't shoot particularly well, and, well, it was just a weird ending to the game. It felt like they were just chucking for no reason and with no, plays being ran to me. Max Strus goes in the starting lineup in place of Tyler Hero, who was out today. He was really good, 16 points. He's been sensational this season overall. Bam had 16, 5, and 3. He was pretty okay, but it just wasn't enough. As I said, the late decision making was just rough. Shout out to Kyle Lowry. He had one of the better games, 15, 7, and 8 in his season. Next up, we have the Bulls winning against the Raptors as they avenged their loss. I mean, it was yesterday or the day before against the Raptors. A lot of the games when, the Bulls were in control for most of the game, and they actually this time took control of it and didn't look back. Fred VanVleet has been sensational shooting the ball as he has came back from his injury. He had 27 points, 6 threes. But, well, no one else played really well. Gary Trent bounced back. That's good to see. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. These two played well, and otherwise it was just a rough offensive night for most of the people. Even though there were some outliers. Scotty Barnes had a beautiful dunk, but that was about it for his day. And OG was also struggling today. Just not a great game. And the Bulls played some solid defense also. I gotta give the Bulls more credit. So, it happens. The Raptors are an up and down team so far this season, so it makes sense. And the same can be said for the Bulls. DeMar had 9.6 and rebounds, 7 assists. It has been kind of weird to see, and it's kind of understandable with how the bench has been playing for the Bulls, with how other players have been pretty much stepping up. Patrick Williams at 10, 6 and 2, 4 of 8 from the field. Nikola Vucevic at 15 and 13, 7 of 14. Zach LaVine had 30, he was great. Ayo Dosunmu bounced back from the bad game yesterday. Goran Dragic continues to be really great off the bench for him. Caruso had a great game off the bench also. Derek Jones had 12 points off the bench. Their bench has been one of my biggest surprises of the season. They have been great. The bench has been playing solid basketball, and they have been, one of the best benches in the basketball to me, it feels like. So the Bulls have that going. DeMar has been kind of up and down, but it feels like he, sometimes doesn't want to take the shots as he's seeing his teammates play well. So the Bulls got a pretty okay vibe also going on, and they are 6-6. They've been pretty solid. Next up, we have the Celtics winning against the Grizzlies, in what was a weird ending to the game. Jason Tatum was sensational. He had 39, 3 and 2, even though at the end of the game it was weird with the free throws and everything, but it worked out in the end for the Celtics. Jaylen Brown was okay, didn't shoot particularly well, but he was pretty solid. Al Horford was pretty good, and well, the bench, even though they didn't shoot well, they seem to bring a good energy, especially somehow. And well, Jason Tatum was the best player on the court today, and they won because of him, and that's about it. And as for the Grizzlies, Dylan Brooks continues to shoot way too many shots, and that's a problem since he's in a contract year. He's always been one of the weirder players to me, and I didn't like him much, but the overall, subjective thing with him is he thinks he's Michael Jordan when he's shooting too much. So that is that. Ja Morant was good, but it wasn't enough today. John Conchar was also really good off the bench with 12 points. Desmond Bain didn't have his best game, and the defense keeps slacking for the Grizzlies overall. The defense has been pretty average for them as long as the season has been, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is all the mister that we know, and that's about it. Next up, we have the Knicks blowing out the T-Wolves, in which was a blowout from the start. They essentially were up by 30 in the second quarter. Julius Randle had 8 threes, 31 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Jalen Brunson had 23, 5 and 8. The bench was really great. Obi Toppin had 15. Isaiah Hartenstein was solid. Emmanuel Quickly was solid. Just a great game for the Knicks. They blew out the Wolves, and the things are pretty good in New York right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing from them overall. But on the other side, I'm not liking what I'm seeing from the T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards didn't have a good game. His body language was poor, and it has been these last few games. D'Angelo Russell has been D'Angelo Russell. Cat has been really good offensive-wise, but the defense is slacking. The bench has been poor these last few games. Just a rough time in Minnesota, and Rudy Gobert might be missing right now. I don't know. It's just the T-Wolves are a weird bunch. I don't know what to think of them. You don't know what to think of them. I mean, I know what to think of them right now. I thought they would be better, and I thought they would, at least in the regular season, make some noise. But so far, it's been quiet on the front. So we'll see if they can improve throughout the season. But it has been a rough watch. Next up, we have the Nuggets winning at San Antonio, as they move to 7-3, and the Nuggets are slowly getting more and more in shape. I like what I saw from Jamal Murray. He had 19, 5 and 6, 9 of 17 from the field. Nikola Jokic was great today, 26, 8 and 10. Michael Porter Jr. still has a ratchet, 24 points, 9 of 16. Bones Highland off the bench once again brought some energy, and they've been improving on defense. So a lot of positive signs from the Nuggets overall. And for the Spurs, it's the same thing once again. Keldon Johnson shooting so sensationally, 30 points. Trey Jones was great, 20 points, 9 assists. That's a revelation, not a revelation, but that's a great sign for him. Trey Jones has been balling this season also. Josh Richardson was great today off the bench. They got a good team. They also a good to great team. They are, they are what they are essentially. And they got some good development going. We'll see what that lands them overall in like 20 games. But a good, still a good start to the season for the Spurs. Next up, we have the Mavs winning against the Nets. It was one of the ugliest fourth quarter I've watched, as the Mavs got up to a huge lead and they lost it. They were kinda playing too much hero ball, too much tough shots, too much ISO for my liking for both sides overall. It was a weird watch. The Nets lost. The Mavs won, I guess. Silver lining for the Nets, Joe Harris has looked much better. 14 points. Steph Curry is getting back into shape. That's good. Ben Simmons is still Ben Simmons. The not so silver lining, Yuta Watanabe got injured. that's bad because he has been really good. Cam Thomas played once again really solid off the bench overall. KD was great except that missed free throw. It happens. And for the Mavs, Luka, 36, 6 and 6, 2 steals. Josh Green has been the silver lining for the Mavs. He was great. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 of 5 from the field. He was sensational. And Spencer Dinwiddie had a struggle game. JaVale McGee has been really weird for him. Christian Wood didn't shoot well. And Tim Hardaway had a pretty good game in his 13 minutes, 11 points. Some good signs, some bad signs. A weird game this was. Next up, we have my Warriors finally snapping their 5-game losing streak and winning against the Kings. It was an ugly game, especially for me as a Warriors fan. Thank God for the double agent Harrison Barnes, who was horrible. 8-0 point, kinda reminiscing of the 2016 NBA Finals. De'Aaron Fox was great. 28 points, 6 assists. He was punishing us all day. Malik Monk was killing Klay Thompson. He had 24 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. He was absolutely sensational. Terence Davis made some clutch shots, but their defense was just not good enough. And, well, Steph was just that great today, so it didn't matter as well, For the Warriors, positives. Steph was incredible, sensational, just out of this world. 47, 8 and 8, 0 turnovers. Just, wow. What a performance by Steph. I was in awe, even though I was kind of disgusted with how bad everything else was. It was sensational. Andrew Wiggins was also really great with 25 and 10. Draymond keeps being pretty okay. Kevin has been great, and everything else has been a struggle. And I'm not sure what's fixing it, so there's that. I'm not optimistic overall, but thanks, Steph, for at least making me feel a little better today. The Jazz blow out the Lakers as they move to 9-3 and first in the Western Conference. Well, the Lakers. The same old. Kendrick Nunn had a good game, which is something we didn't see really, but their defense was bad today. Russell Westbrook, even though he brought some good energy, he was still, he was bad defensively today. Anthony Davis was good, but the body language was off. They couldn't stop Utah at anything. They didn't have enough offense, and they are what they are. They are one of the worst teams in the league, and without LeBron, it's even amplified. And on the other hand, the Utah Jazz are one of the best teams in the NBA. Lauri Markkanen had 23 on 10 of 15 shooting. Jordan Clarkson was sensational. Taylor Horton Tucker had a revenge game, 15, 3 and 3 with 3 steals, one hell of a dunk. Colin Sexton had 17, 5 and 3. He was really good. Walker Kessler 8 points, 9 boards in 18 minutes. He was solid. Utah is fun, man. Utah is fun and great. Not much more to say there. I've been repeating it every time. They blew out the bad team, as good teams do. And last but not least, we have the Clippers coming up huge in the fourth quarter as they beat the Cavs. And the Cavs were pretty great most of the game, but then in the last 5 minutes, they just kind of lost it. And they got outplayed and lost. Evan Mobley had his career, another career high, I think. He had the season high, 26 points. But, he was there when, most of the bad thing happened, even though I don't think it was his fault. Caris LeVert was not good today. Kevin Love was great. And, well, they were pretty great. It was 2 great teams, not great teams. One great team, one good team, I would say. And they were battling out, both playing great basketball. And one of them had to lose, and it was the Cavs this time. The Clippers get a good win. Marcus Morris with 20 points, 6 rebounds. He's been really good. Reggie Jackson bounced back from the bad game. He had 18 points. Norman Powell had his best game of the season with 17 on 5 makes in 6 tries. Paul George, 26 points. He's bounced back after a few rough games. These last 4 games, he's been sensational, and a good win for the Clippers. And that does it. 15 games. I'm not feeling well after today. I've had my teeth, there has been, had to go to the dentist. It's been kind of ached up. Not great. I've been kind of overwhelmed with everything. Stressed out with a lot of shit, but I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to at least talk about it as much as I can, because this is my life. This is what makes me happy. I hope your team won. I hope you're happy. I guess go vote in if you in the US today. No games for the election. And then we have 13 games on Wednesday, which is gonna be insane again. Hope there are not that many great games, so I don't have to watch them all. So I can just kinda watch. So I can actually, just skim through some of those games, not watch every one of them in full, because there were so many great games that I had to watch because I wanted to also, but it was kind of exhausting. So there's that, and I'll see you all then, baby.